Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. As you saw in the last video, we got the compressors mounted, the Slam Specialty manifold mounted. Next, we'll start getting the wiring figured out and brought up. We got to put the sensor back on. This front airline, we'll connect it up here somewhere and then continue the airline back into the manifold. Once we get all the wiring and air management done, we'll get the gas tank on, extend that harness if we need to. Then we're off to cut the bed, put it on, and this thing's done. I'm excited. Hope you guys are too. Because once we're done with this one, we're going full time on the Ford. Some more time-consuming stuff, the wiring, getting everything figured out, what was there. None of it was really labeled. Luckily, I have a picture of before I took it out. But I have the power here. Well, the fuse is right here from up front. And then it's going to go to the two main power wires, your relays. So I'll put some wire loom on these. This goes to the pressure switch. This is all accessible from underneath the truck. Once the customer, I don't know if they're gonna have me do it later or they're gonna do it, they're gonna do a raised bed floor. So I'm having, like I said, everything is now accessible from below. If you have anything go wrong, then you can fix it. I have either before I continue with this, I may go ahead and do all the plumbing on the tank. That way the Loctite has time to dry. But we still have to put this fitting, which goes to this line at the bottom of the tank. That's the drain. This is where it was at prior when it came into me. So we left it there and we'll reroute it there. It's a straighter valve that they use for a remote drain. These are the sensors for the height pressure. These will be ran inline just like they were when they came to me. The tank's limited on ports, so we're teeing a few of them off. For the pressure sensor for the gauges, he has digital glow ones, glow shift. And this is the pressure sensor for the compressors. I'll take a small little break, charge up the headphones, have a little snack, then we'll get right back on it. wire at a time. I've got the power wire connected to the extended wire. So now it's fully ran. I'll have to clamp it down once I figure out a few more wires. I'll probably clamp down the power line and then zip tie the other bundle with it. But first, the last thing I need to do so I can test everything is I'll plug the pressure switch in, knowing it'll kick on, but I'll plug it in to both sides. This one, and then I believe that's the trigger wire for the switch inside. I'll double check that. If it is, we'll extend that back and we'll plug it in there, and then I'll test to make sure the compressors and the relays and everything's working with the switch, and we can continue to move forward. I have to extend the wires to the Slam specialty box. Goes to about right there. The other pair of wires that don't have to extend much, but I mean, well, it's really not much at all. I might actually not have to extend this one. I might be able to make that one work. This other group of wiring for it, I will have to extend. It stops short a few inches. So I'll probably bring both of them back some and bring the connection along here, because I don't like to do this type of stuff. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but then it leaves you, when you have a bundle of wires like this, you have a bundle. So the preferred way I like to do it is I'll make one connection, and then the next one will be a little further down, a little further down. That way you only have the width of all these. And I'm not using this style. I'll show you the style I use. The style I use is like these, but it also has heat shrink on it. I already got, like I said, the power is done, heat shrink on it, and wire loom over the connector. So now that'll be way protected. All right, we'll keep moving forward. Sailing right through all this. All right. As you saw, tank's mounted. Fittings are all on. This line is connecting these two fittings that go to the manifold. As I have added air to it, I've already checked for leaks, didn't see any. So I added some air, 80 PSI, and I'll check back in an hour or so and see if it's still at that PSI. Compressors worked. This was the line, this is the switch line. Ran it, connected it, the compressors did come on. Didn't run them that long, I don't wanna burn up the customer's battery. Tightened up all the link bar bolts, so they're all tight. Next, we'll start figuring out, we'll get the airbags in. I'll connect that air line to the manifold on both sides. We'll get the sensor in so we can get that air line ran back into, and then we'll start wiring up the controller to the manifold. All right, I have that wire extended. This is the sensor that goes to the digital gauge. I use some same gauge wiring. Here, let me show you these little guys that I use. I need to get more. I just noticed I'm out of white. Oh, I do have white. But yeah, they have some really tiny ones. All the way up to some nice little hefty ones. All the way up to 10 gauge, all the way down to 26. But basically, heat them up. They heat shrink. It all heat shrinks except for the middle, and then you hit it twice, one on each side, and your solder, low temp solder, comes out and coats them. I twist the wires together. I'll show you guys on the next one I do, because I still have more wiring to extend. But before I cover these, like I said, you can see kind of how they work. Before I cover this with some heat shrink, even though they're already heat shrunk, I want to cover them again and make them more sturdy. I'm going to test it, make sure it works. Then we'll move on to extending these guys. Or I'll go ahead and figure out where all the bags are going to be plugged into there, so I can figure out how to wire each port, the 4 ports, to which corner I want them at. Man, this part, anybody will tell you, this is the time-consuming part, is when you're getting everything put back together, wired up. I just tested these wires. I know these are the ones for the 2 gauges. I separated them when I took them apart, so I knew this pair and that pair. Worked out perfectly that this is the front top gauge with the digital gauges. I'm gonna take me a lunch. Then we'll put some eyelets on these wires and run them to that gauge. And then we'll extend this pair of wire, and we'll actually run the other 4 wires that go to the rear sensors. We'll go ahead and run them, pair them up with these, bring the rear back here somewhere, and that other one's gonna go all the way around back over to that side. Unless I might look under the truck and think about seeing about running it across the cross member if it's a shorter route. Little by little, we're getting there. Wasn't room or much to film. Pulled the carpet back, took the center console out, the door seals off, the kicker panel, had all that off. Got the sensor wires from behind the gauges, ran them underneath the carpet along with the other ones, and now have them sticking out the grommet that all the factory wires come out of right there. We'll set the camera up now that you can see what I'm doing. We'll get the other sensor wires down and we'll get them all together, and we'll wire loom them, pull out the one we need, and continue until I have to extend them. Keep saying it. I'm so close. All right, all the height sensors, I had to readjust these. This was coming out straight up here, and I could only swivel it this way or that way, and I need the line to go that way. So now, since I've moved it, I can adjust the line a little better. Those are there. These are gonna stay down here. They'll get a zip tied probably right up against there, right against the legs of the tank. Let's do a double check to make sure they're all reading correctly. I already wire loomed it, as you saw. Comes around, connects to that one, and the wire loom covers that wire and connects to that one. All right, no one's flashing. Good to go. Now, I also connected the tank on both ends, the inlet to there. So the only thing left now is to run the lines from here to the manifold. Run that line to the manifold, set the 2 bags in, set that to the manifold. Then I can wire the manifold to the controller. Then the air management's completely done. Then we can move on to setting the gas tank in. I can bolt it down. We can go get the 2 lines I need to extend the fuel lines. And then I'll extend the harness. Because this harness isn't that long, it's only a few feet. When normally it comes from the passenger side. The plug to clip that into is right here. So move these keys out of the way. So it's not going to reach. And instead of me trying to extend this wire, I got more room on that harness to extend it down there, and then we'll run it down over and connect it. Then we can put the fuel back in that tank, and then we can start this. Hey everyone, I want to jump on here and let you guys know we're going to cut this video short. I wouldn't say short, but it's getting long already, so we're going to cut this one in half, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.